Hello everyone, it's Kathy and you're back here in my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. Welcome in and thank you so much for tuning in with me today. We are going to do a project and this is my Stampin' Up catalog. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm located here in the beautiful state of North Carolina, but I can take care of your stamping needs anywhere you live across the continental, actually across the United States of America, even Hawaii and Alaska. So you don't have to be continental, but as long as you are an American, I can take care of you. Canadians, they have their own set of demonstrators, as well as the UK, Australia, all of the different countries that Stampin' Up represents. You would find your own demonstrator in your country. What we're going to do today, let's turn over to page 68 in our catalog. This is a returning stamp set that I absolutely love, and I was so glad to see that it was that it came back. Not only did it come back, but it came back as a bundle, which is always great because anytime we bundle, we save 10%. And what does that mean? That means if you buy the stamps and the dies together using the bundle number, you will save 10% off of buying them separately by using the numbers up here and the number that's in the back for just the dies. So anytime you see a bundle and you're pretty sure that you want that bundle, you want both the dies and the stamp, or the stamp and the punch, it's a good idea to go ahead and get them as a bundle because you do save that little bit of money. And 10% is 10%. That can take care of your shipping. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to show you what we're going to do today. And I don't have a prototype because the card that I'm making, I just decided that I would come on and make it with y'all. Now, I did do a couple of little things before the video because I thought that'll make things go by a lot much easier. So what I did is I went ahead and cut a piece of 5.5 by 8.5. 5.5 by 8.5, and I did some scoring. Let me grab my notes so I can tell you exactly where we scored at, because I think you're going to enjoy this as much as I did putting it together. So I'm going to move these pieces over here. I've got a couple of little mechanism pieces. This is going to be a Gatefold pop-out card, and I think you're going to love this. If you remember me doing the card that was like the really funny fold and it had the little center that popped out, this is very similar to that. But what we're going to do, we're going to score this piece, and we're going to score at 2 1/8, 4 1/4, 6 3/8. Now 3/8, I know y'all don't like eighths, but let me show you. On our scoreboard or your trimmer, whichever instrument you have, the 6 3/8 is going to be just before the 6 1/2, which would be 4/8. 6 1/2 is 4/8. I've even heard some demonstrators refer to 4/8 rather than a half. But here is 6 1/2, and one right before you get to the 6 1/2 would be the 3/8, because the next one would be 4/8, which is 6 1/2. So I hope that helped clarify. But this is going to be the base of our card, and it's going to fold just like this in that beautiful gatefold. So all of us, most of us are familiar with a gatefold card, so this should not be too difficult for everyone to grasp. Alright, so we fold this like this, and I creased all of my fold lines really well. I use my bone folder. But what you want to do is you want to burnish every one of these crease lines. You really want to go over them and get a good fold, and do it in both directions, because this card is going to have a pop-up mechanism in it, and it's going to be crucial for you to make sure that you have everything together. So what we're going to do now, I cut some panels because I wanted to fill in all of these panels with some beautiful cardstock. So I chose my cardstock first, and I picked out the Hues of Happiness. This paper's gorgeous. And I cut some mats from Daffodil Delight, and the dimensions on these are 1 7/8 by 5 1/4, and then our matte pieces are 1 5/8 by 5. And you can see this gives us a perfect border. I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to glue all of my pieces down, and then when we come back we'll attach them to our card, and I'll show you exactly how easy and how quick this card comes together. Probably the most time consuming thing is the cutting of your paper strips and gluing everything together. Alright, I'm back and I've gotten all of my pieces glued together. So all the ones with my Hues of Happiness paper, just make sure if you're using a pattern paper that you're going in the right direction. And it really doesn't matter until you get ready to put these onto your actual card base, but because you can always flip them around. You're putting them on a solid cardstock, so you could flip it and flip it, but I like to make sure that my flowers are all going in the right direction. So we're going to center those up right in the middle, and we're going to put one here and one here, and then the other 4 are going to go on the back, or the other 2. We're going to have 2 that's going to go inside here, but we're not going to put those down just yet, and let me show you why. I have this little mechanism, and this piece is cut at 5 1/4 by 3/4, and it's scored at 1/2 inch on each end. So that is going to get glued down in here about middle way, because this is where you want your little pop-up to come. And I'm just going to use some liquid glue and put this down, and I'm going to do one side at a time. So get your liquid glue on here. Don't be afraid to use a little bit of glue. And what I want to do is I want to butt this up to that score line but not go over it. Just like that. So I'm going to bend this back, get my excess glue off, and I'm going to take and put glue on this side. And then I'm just going to close my card down onto that. That should catch in the right position. And yes, that looks, it's a little crooked. Alright, I'm going to just give a little pressure to that. There we go. Alright, the next thing we want to do is go ahead and adhere these on to our card base, one here and one here. So let's go ahead and do that. Now all the measurements and the description, all the products that I use will be on the blog post, and all you need to do to get that is click where it says free tutorial, and you can click on that and it will bring up a PDF file that you can save to your computer, or you can print it out, or both. And then you will have the instructions on how to do this card every time you want to make it. So I always think it's good to build a video of different card spaces or designs that we like to make. Alright, the next 2 are going to be a little more complicated, so we're going to have to bend our card about like that. See how that's going to pop out? So what we're going to need to do this time is we're going to need to slide these under here and get them positioned like so. That's going to be on one, and this is going to be on the other. Alright, let's get some glue and we'll go ahead and glue these in, and then we'll have the inside of the card just about done. So I'm going to use liquid glue on this as well. And you want to kind of lift up on these pieces so you can slide this under without getting glue all over everything. And then just bring it over. Bring it down. Bring it over and give it a good press. Alright, so now let's do the same thing with this piece. Again, we're going to bring that up to give us that little bit of wiggle room up underneath here. Slide that in just like that. Alright, now we're going to turn our card over and we're going to do 2 more of these panels on each side. One here and one here. So let's go ahead and get those glued down, and then we'll work on the outside, the 2 inner pieces on the outside. And we're going to use those as a place to stamp, put a sentiment, and maybe for your greeting, your own personal greeting. So let's put this one here. And then we're going to take this one and do the very same thing. Load it up with some glue. Again, paying attention to which way your flowers are going. Alright, we got that on. So now our card is starting to come together. Now we're still going to need to build up on the inside, so let me go and get my pieces ready to do our inside. You'll see how pretty that's going to be when it's sitting up and a pop-up on it. But the good thing is, when you open it, the pop-up doesn't do anything until you do that. So cute. Alright, I'll be right back. I'm going to gather everything else I need to finish this card, and we'll join right back up in just a moment. Okay everybody, I'm back and I have kind of regrouped, and I had told y'all earlier we were going to use the Nature's Harvest stamp set and dies. Let's can that. Y'all know I'm always changing my mind. I decided to go with this Wonderful World. I had not used this. This is one of our celebration items, and you get this beautiful stamp set and a gorgeous, gorgeous pack of paper called Wonderful World. I believe it's the name of it. And the images coordinate so well with the paper. I wish I had thought ahead. I probably would have used that paper instead of what I did. But nevertheless, I love the Hues of Happiness paper too. And I think this will lend itself well to this Hues of Happiness. So if you have not gotten this, you may want to place an order before Wednesday, because celebration ends on Wednesday, and if there's anything in that celebration catalog that really caught your eye, now would be the time to go ahead and place your order. You will have until midnight Mountain Time on August the 31st, which is this coming Wednesday. Alright, with all that being said, I went ahead and loaded the stamp in my Stamparatus because I want to be able to stamp it multiple times. You might say, well, why? Because I'm going to use my Stampin' Write markers. Now, these are not the same as our Stampin' Blends. These are Stampin' Write. They're water-based markers. They are safe to color your cling stamps with. The alcohol markers are not safe to put onto any of your stamps, but these are, because they're water-based. So I am going to go in and I'm going to use the side of my my brush, and I'm going to put down some color all over this flower, making sure I'm getting all the way to the edges. I don't want to get the leaves, I just want to get the flower itself and pick up all of that definition. And you see, I'm just trying to saturate the flower as much as I can. I'm going to come over here and do this one too. When you're doing this, you want to work fast because these dry fast. But you know, just you can always go back over it. Another thing that's good to do, and we will be doing that, we're going to huff on it, because when you put your warm breath to this water-based marker, it kind of reactivates it, so to speak, and gives us a little bit better. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to bring this up to my mouth. And then I'm going to stamp this down. Now the good thing about this, if we don't get the image that we're looking for, we can very easily put some more ink on it from our marker. Now see, I got a little bit of ink there that I didn't want, but otherwise that is absolutely beautiful. So we're going to go with that. I don't think it needs to be restamped. I think I got a little bit of ink on the edge, so try to be careful and not get ink where you don't want it, because that's exactly what happened right there. All right, so now I'm going to take my granny apple green, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to see if I can get these stems and the little leaves. I always get really quiet when I'm coloring. I don't know what it is, but I think my grandmother used to give me coloring books to keep me quiet. So when I colored, I learned that that was my quiet time. It's amazing the things we learn as a child that sticks with us even as an adult. Another good huff on that. And then I'm going to press that down. And we have pretty green leaves on our beautiful purple flowers, and I love that. The only thing I didn't like was what happened up there, but you know what? The leaves kind of camouflage that, so I do not have to even worry about it. Isn't that cute? Alright, so that's one of our panels that's going to go on another piece of the yellow. This is going to go in the middle of the back. I think that's going to be so pretty. Look how pretty that is. Alright, and then we have one more. And if you notice, I got a little bit of ink on my Stamparatus. Not a big problem. I'm just going to come in with one of my little alcohol wipes and wipe that off. I'm going to give it just a minute. I might help it out a little bit with a microfiber cloth and just wipe that down. And I am going to spray a little bit of the Stampin' Mist onto my stamp itself. And then I'm going to grab my microfiber cloth. Just clean that ink off of that really good. And there, that one is done. So let's go ahead and grab our next one. And I think for it, I may use the iris. And I need a sentiment. So we're going to need, what did I do with, oh, here it is. We're going to need a sentiment of what we're going to put on this card. So let me get my Stamparatus where I want, I mean my piece where I want it. I think I'm going to go right there. I'm going to bring this down this way just a little bit. And I want to put a sentiment right up here in the top. So let's, I'll tell you what, let's do our flower first. And I think this one I'm going to do in pink. So I'm going to get the Melon Mambo. Melon Mambo. Alright. Now these markers are not sold in a set like the other ones. This is sold in one big set, and it is an investment. So if you ever place a really big Stampin' Up order, it would be the time to get these, because then you can get them at half price. That's exactly how I got mine. I had a large order, and I decided that I wanted the stamping rights. So because they come in a kit or a case with all, I think it's like 125 colors. Something like that. Don't take that to the bank, because I'm not sure, but I can let you know it's in the catalog. So after I get that completely covered, huff and stamp. So pretty. Look at that. I love it, I love it, I love it. I love the dimensions that you're seeing in that. That is that distinctive inking where it gives you the lowlights and the highlights already built into the stamp. Oops, wrong end. I don't need the right, I need this one. So, I'm going to move this stamp over here. And I'm going to go in now and try to get as much of these leaves as I possibly can. Like I said, if you hadn't got this stamp set, it is really a great stamp set to have in your stash because these flowers are gorgeous. And if you love flowers the way I do, I think you would probably want this one in your stamp stash. And I think that's going to need a little bit touch up of more. See, this is the good thing of having the Stamparatus. If I had done this on a stamp block, I would have to turn my paper over and restamp everything. But because I'm using this positioner tool, aka Stamparatus, it gives me that little tiny itty bitty bit of wiggle room. Just like so. Oh, that's so pretty. So pretty. I'm going to come in. I think I'm going to do it with the other end. I'm just going to come in and fill in just a little bit. Just like that. That's the good thing about the Stampin' Rights. You can just turn around and use them however you see fit. But they're so neat because you can color your stamps, you can go back over your image, you can draw lines, you can actually write with those. That's why they're called Stampin' Right. So, which is great for journaling and things like that, especially if you want it color coordinated with our beautiful Stampin' Up colors. And y'all know that coordination is the best thing ever. Alright, I'm going to stick this back in here, but I want it to be more down this way because I'm going to find a sentiment now. This is from the Cottage Rose, and I believe this will work. Alright, we're gonna go with that. And what ink do I want to use? Do I want to use that beautiful yellow? Do I want to go with the pink? Or do I want to go with the purple? I think I'm going to go with the purple, which is our Gorgeous Grape. And since I have my Stamparatus out, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And the good thing too about having the Stamparatus is the lining up your stamps. You can line them up right across your line, and you know you're going to get a good stamp. So I'm going to just do a little tap 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 on this and press it down, and I can ink it again. And there is our sentiment. Feel better real soon. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing. Some Stampin' Mist. And wipe that off. Now remember, we got our sentiment from the Cottage Rose. I try to leave everything out that I use, so that I don't leave anything out of the description. And like I said, on my blog post, you will see a free PDF tutorial, and that's where you'll find all the measurements and everything to make to make this card. It also, all the order numbers, if there's something there you saw that you wanted to order from me, I make it really easy by putting down my order numbers. So I think that would make it really sweet and easier for you to find what you're looking for. What I want to do is go ahead and run these two through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I think I can get these both through at the same time. So I'm going to put one up to the front and one down here to the bottom, and they do fit. So I'm not even going to bring it over to under the camera because it is heavy, and I have it on a place on my desk where I can use it. So we're just going to crank it through, just like so. And let's get our pieces off. I like to stick my little post-it flags back over because you never know. I can use these over and over and over. And then this can go on here like that. We're going to be putting this card together in short order, y'all. It's not going to be too much longer. We're going to have all of our pieces done and cut. We're done with cutting. Now we just got a little bit more stamping to do, and I'm going to bring that Stamparatus back over because we're going to do the same thing with this little rose. We are going to make this rose beautiful. So I'm going to take this and put that right there. I got to get another piece of tape to go around this one because these magnets are the strongest magnets I have ever seen in my entire life. Alright, I'm sure there are stronger ones, but I just haven't seen them. I'm going to stamp this up to the top, or do I want to do it to the bottom? Maybe here, and that should leave us a place over here for hello. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pick that up, and we're going to color this just like we did the other one. And I'm going to use that same Melon Mambo because I love it. I think it's so pretty. If you see any little specks of debris on your stamps, make sure you take that off before you start coloring. Alright, I'm going to bring this up and give it a little huff. And stamp it down. Absolutely gorgeous. Don't you just love that effect that it has? Now you could do the same thing with stamps, but it would be hard to get your two colors, and that's the best part of this, is the fact that we can come in, oops, wrong end, we can come in with our contrasting color . Alright, now I'm I'm going to give a good huff on this. And stamp it down. And I didn't do the leaves. What was I thinking? I was so concentrating on the stem that I left the leaves completely out. So I'm just going to go back over and make sure I get these beautiful leaves in. There's a lot of detail in those leaves as well. Hop. Oh, so pretty. I love it. And then for a true friend, right there. And pull this one up. And I think for this one, I'm going to stamp it in just regular old Memento black ink. Well, I just dropped everything. That's all right. I got to have something to do after I finish the video while it's uploading. And we're going to press that right there. It's so pretty. I don't think we need another offering of ink on that. I think it's perfect the way it is. So I am going to find my wet spot on my towel. Looks like it's going to need a little tiny bit more. And let's pull the magnets off of this and lift it out. Then we have our little middle element. We have our panels are stamped and everything is ready now to put this card together. So let's do it. What I'm going to do is put the stamp back up first before I do anything so I don't lose it. Alright, and then we're going to take some liquid glue. I dropped that. I hate when that happens. This lined up perfect. And something on that cardstock. I'm going to try to see if my mono sand eraser will kind of work that off. Not bad. Alright, that piece is done. Now this piece needs to go down on here. Same way. I am going to take this little eraser that gets glue off. And this is a Xyron eraser. And get that glue off of there like that. And there we go. We got to put this piece on. Just like that. Now we can bring our card back over, and we have this little piece here that measures 3/4 of an inch by 3, and we score this at a 1/2, 1, 2, 2.5, and you want to accordion bend this so that your pieces, you want to do a valley and a mountain and a valley. So your piece will look like this. When you sit it down, it should look just like my piece. Now this piece is going to go, we're going to put glue on both of these little tabs right here. We're going to do our best to keep this together. And I'm going to turn my card around because what I need to do is I need to line up that middle line. See the middle right there? I need to line that up to the middle of this line, going right down the center of our card as best as you can. And I'm just going to hold that for a minute to let it adhere. And what that does, it gives us a beautiful place to put this so it pops out for us really nice when we are ready to put it in. So let's go ahead and put glue all over this piece. And then I'm going to hold this over top of it. And I'm just going to hold it and hold it and hold it and let that adhere completely. Alright, I think we got that adhered. So make sure that it's springing up like it should. And there is our pop out. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. But when you fold it, everything folds shut together. That's the beauty of this. So let's turn this over and finish up the back of it. And for our back, we have this panel that's going down right here. And we have this panel that's going down right here. So let's go ahead and glue these in. Then all we have left to do is work on our belly band, and we can call this a done deal. Just like that, and then let's do this one as well. All right, that is our card, except doing our belly band. So, like I said, this is such a cute presentation. That pops out like that. On the back, it's going to say, "Feel better real soon." This is going to be a thinking of you, get well kind of card. And I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. Okay. The next thing is we need our belly band, and I have a piece of Daffodil Delight, and this is cut at 1 inch by 10 inches. 1 by 10, and all we're going to do is close our card up, put this in on our scoreboard, center up our card like right about there, and then we're going to play and then we're going to take this and bring it over. And you want to be careful not to crimp this too tight. You want it to be able to slide up and down so people can get their card out, but you want it to be snug enough to do what you need it to do, and that's to hold this front together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put a little bit of glue something like that. Alright, if you notice you've got a little hangover right there, it's probably not going to matter, but if you're one of those people like me that little things like that bother you, just take your scissors and just whack off a little tiny piece. I mean, it wasn't even a smidging. Look at that. So, just trim it off. Don't be afraid of it. It doesn't bite. Alright, let's go ahead and cut our next piece that's going to go on the front of our card. Actually, it's going to be our pieces for our belly band. So let me go and get those pieces together, and I will be right back. We'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, and what I did is from Shaded Summer, I pulled this sentiment called Love You Friend. And I want this to go right about here, but I don't think it's going to work. Maybe if we do our flower more this way. What I thought about doing is Love You here and Friend underneath it. I think that might be what I do. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. I'm going to get my Stamparatus one more time. I did cut out one of the scalloped contour scallop dies, and this is the third one. So whether you're counting up or down, it's the third die in this group. So I love these dies. Y'all know I use them all the time because they just add such I don't know, an elegance to your card. I think that would be the right word. I also cut a piece of white that's going to sit in right inside that stitch line, and this piece measures, it has got a little bit of funky measurements on it because it is 1 7/8 by 3 1/4. So it is a little bit different in size, but like I said, all these measurements will be in the blog on the free PDF tutorial. I'm going to take this piece and we're going to come back to our Stamparatus. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the Love You Friend first, but I am going to put my flower down so I'll know exactly where I'm going to want to position it. I think one of those is going to hold that just fine. So I'm going to try to put that up like that. And then I think what I want to do is put Love You right here, and then we're going to come back in and do Friend under it. But let's go ahead and do our flower. I know that I want the flower there. Then we can move that out of our way. And again, I'm going to do that same technique where I'm going to color with my Stampin' Write markers. So again, I'm just going to color this rose. Such a pretty, pretty rose. Now this is definitely not a card that you would want to mass produce, because this would be a card you'd make for someone special that you really wanted to let them know that you care about them. So I am going to try to wipe that off as best I can, hoping I don't get a bleed over. We'll see. We're going to be real easy with that. And I'm going to put that down right there, give it a nice little press, lift it. Not bad. Let's go a little bit more right there. I think that looks good. So then I'm going to take my green and I'm going to color. This time I'm not going to forget to do my flowers, I mean my leaves. Sorry I get quiet when I'm coloring. It's just, if you know me, you know that's me. I'm going to do a little hop. and press that down. Oh, so pretty. I think I'm just going to do this and bring that up to it. And I think that looks beautiful just the way it is. So again, I'm going to clean my stamp. And then I want to bring over, let's go ahead and take this one off. Let's bring over our Love You Friend. And I am going to tape off the word friend. And I'm just going to use a little piece of this sticky tape to do this with. This is like a paper tape. And I am going to come all the way over to here. Just like that. And then I'm going to come right about there. And let's pick up and I'm going to use some Memento Black, and I'll show you how easy it is to do that masking off. Just go ahead and ink up your image just like you normally would, but then pull off your tape. Looks like I got a little bit of black in there that I didn't want. It's okay, I'm going to take a little wipe and I'm going to go right there and clean that up. Just like that. And let's see if we can get this down. And what else I'm going to do? I'm going to put another piece of tape over it just to make sure that it doesn't transfer anything on where I don't want it. So I'm going to take that piece of tape and lay it across there, something like that. And then I'm going to stamp this down. Nice and clean and no ink residue. So now we're going to take our stamp cleaner and I'm going to clean that again. And now I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to bring it back over. This time I want Love You gone. So I'm going to put that over it right there. And this time I want it to be Friend right about here. Pick it up. Let's ink it up. And we'll tear this back and stamp that down. So anytime you have a stamp that doesn't fit where you want it to, make it fit. It's not hard to do, and it really does make a lasting impression. So I'm going to take my little cloth and wipe that off. I'll leave that there for right now. Let's cover up our ink. And now we're ready to put this onto our piece right here. And I'm just going to use some liquid glue to put this down with. I'm trying not to add any dimensions to this card because it's already a thick card. So let's put this down right about here. Slide it over just a hair more. That looks really good. Isn't that pretty? I am going to put some gems on it, so we'll still jazz it up a little bit more. Now here's our belly band. I want the seam to go in the front because I am going to put this across it just like that. So I'm going to take glue and put glue all across this belly band. And then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to set it right into that glue, getting it nice and even. Did y'all see that little gnat? He must like the smell of my glue. I don't know what it is, but I've checked and I have nothing bad in there. I think I'm going to have to put some Clorox down my drain. There we go. And there's the back, and we're going to slide the belly band over it. Oops, I didn't let that dry long enough. Let's fix this. That was not a good thing. It'll probably tack down now because it's gotten air under it. While I'm waiting for that to adhere, I'll get my pen back in my glue. And let's pull that just a hair. And try sliding this again. Bella, 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 Bella. Bless her little heart. She is down here just a snoring. I'm sure y'all hear her. And there is our beautiful card. What do y'all think? We have this beautiful sentiments and flowers on the back. Slide the belly band off and the recipient gets a bit of a surprise when they open it, and it folds back like that to sit. And this little piece is kind of like free flowing, so it will kind of move. But I think it's gorgeous. Love the way it turned out. I hope that you've enjoyed the tutorial for this particular card, and I would love to see you make something very similar to this. So I'm throwing out the challenge. If you have not done a card like this, I would love to see it over on our Facebook group, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. I want to thank you ever so much for tuning in. I hope that I taught you something, I inspired you, and most of all, as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is worthy. Until we craft again, may God bless and keep you always. Bye-bye.